Hey everyone, welcome to Quantum Mind Hub Stories. Remember to drop your comments, share your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button below. This is Talia Monroe's story, a tale of heartbreak, quiet strength, and a shocking comeback. She spent years working behind the scenes at her husband's startup, always seen as just his wife. But deep down, Talia held secrets that no one ever guessed. Today, we dive into how she turned humiliation into power. Get ready for a wild ride of betrayal, pain, and sweet revenge, all told in simple words that anyone can understand. At the big company party, Eli grabbed the mic with a smirk. "Remember, she was lucky to have a job," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. The room burst into laughter as Talia's face went pale. "I was nothing without you," he joked, not knowing his words would sting her deeply. People talked and laughed, but Talia's heart broke inside. Standing there, she felt small and humiliated. That night, a spark of anger lit up inside her. She vowed silently that one day the tables would turn and the world would see the truth behind her quiet smile. Later that night, Talia sat alone at home, replaying the evening in her mind. She remembered the days when she built the business plan, poured her savings into the idea, and took every risk with passion. Back then, she had clear dreams and fierce determination. But as the years went by, she had let Eli take the spotlight while she stayed hidden. "I did all the work," she murmured to herself, feeling the weight of betrayal. Her eyes filled with tears as she recalled long nights spent planning the future, a future where her ideas were the real engine behind the company's success. Talia thought back to when they first married, a time when love and hope mixed with ambition. They joined their lives and businesses quickly, blending money and dreams. Eli was the charming face who shook hands with clients, while Talia managed the paperwork, payroll, and all the behind-the-scenes work. She never asked for applause or credit, always content to let him take the lead. But deep down, she knew her ideas were the lifeblood of the business. That night, after being humiliated at the party, she decided it was time to stop hiding and start speaking up about her true worth. The next morning, Talia confronted Eli as they sat down for breakfast. "Last night wasn't just a joke," she said softly, her voice trembling but firm. Eli shrugged it off. "Oh, come on, it was just a bit of fun," he replied casually. But Talia's eyes were steely. "Fun isn't how I feel when I'm disrespected," she shot back. Their conversation grew tense, filled with short, bitter remarks. Though Eli tried to dismiss her feelings, Talia was already planning her next move. The hurt was real, and so was her determination to claim what was rightfully hers. Feeling alone and betrayed, Talia called her best friend, Rachel, who happened to be a sharp lawyer. "I need help, Rachel," Talia said, voice low with urgency. Rachel listened carefully as Talia recounted the humiliating party and all the years of hidden effort. "You've been playing the silent partner for too long," Rachel advised. "Let's check your records and see what we've got." In that call, a plan began to form. Talia felt a small spark of hope. With her friend's legal expertise, she was ready to unearth the truth and turn the tables on Eli, the man who had taken credit for her hard work. Talia went to her small safe hidden away in her office. Inside were old papers, contracts, and documents she had kept since the company's early days. As she carefully opened each file, her hands trembled with a mix of fear and excitement. There was proof that she owned 70% of the company, had provided the initial funding, and even signed crucial contracts. "This is it," she whispered. The evidence was clear, and she knew it was her ticket to reclaiming her power. With these documents in hand, Talia's plan for a dramatic comeback was well underway. Meanwhile, Eli continued his usual routine, unaware of the storm brewing. At work, he was busy firing a developer for taking parental leave, a move that made Talia's blood boil. She watched quietly, already making mental notes of every wrong move he made. Employees exchanged nervous looks, knowing that something wasn't right behind the scenes. Talia's eyes narrowed as she scribbled down details. Every little mistake counts, she thought. Her anger grew as she recorded every action. The mounting evidence of Eli's unfair practices was the perfect ammunition for her planned revenge, a way to show the whole world the truth about him. Talia also remembered an old non-disclosure agreement that Eli had once signed. It clearly stated he had no power over major decisions without her written consent. That document had been tucked away in a dusty folder for years. How did he forget this? She mused with a hint of a smile. It was just another piece in her growing puzzle. Each forgotten contract, every hidden clause, reinforced what she already knew: the company wasn't his creation at all. With this NDA in her back pocket, Talia felt even more confident that the time was ripe to reveal the truth and reclaim her rightful control over the company. With the documents gathered, Talia had Rachel send a quiet legal notice to Eli. It arrived in his inbox without any fanfare, yet its message was clear. "You're in breach of several agreements," it stated in plain language. Eli ignored the notice at first, brushing it off as nothing more than a nuisance. But deep down, he felt a shiver of worry. "Maybe I shouldn't have done that," he muttered under his breath. That small moment of doubt was all Talia needed. The seeds of her takeover were sown, and soon the very man who had ridiculed her would face the consequences of his actions. Talia scheduled a board meeting, sending out invitations with a steady hand. She kept her tone calm and professional even though her heart pounded inside her chest. Eli assumed the meeting was about new strategy or routine updates. He didn't know the true storm waiting for him. In the days leading up to the meeting, whispers spread among the board members. They knew Talia's quiet strength and dedication. "Maybe she has something big planned," one member murmured. As the meeting day approached, Talia felt a mix of nerves and excitement. The moment had finally come to stand up for herself and change everything. On the day of the board meeting, Talia walked in with quiet determination. The room was filled with familiar faces who had always seen her as just the wife. But today their eyes held a different light, a mix of respect and uncertainty. A few of them greeted her with hesitant smiles, clearly sensing that something major was about to unfold. Talia sat at the head of the table, documents neatly stacked in front of her. "We need to talk about leadership," she said, her voice steady. The atmosphere turned tense. Everyone felt it. This wasn't just another meeting. It was a turning point. Just before the meeting, Talia received messages from a secret Slack channel created by employees. The messages included screenshots of Eli's rude texts, shady deals, and even messages showing how he flirted with clients during work hours. "I can't believe this," one employee wrote. Talia's heart raced as she scrolled through the messages. This digital evidence was the final nail in the coffin. Each message confirmed what she already knew. With the support of her team, she felt empowered. The quiet murmur of discontent was growing louder, and now Talia had the proof to back up her claims. Later that week, during a crucial pitch meeting with venture capitalists, Talia decided to take a bold step. The Zoom call was in full swing when she interrupted the presentation. "Excuse me, everyone," she said calmly, pausing the meeting. The room fell silent as everyone, including Eli, looked at her in surprise. "This call is now under internal review," she added, her tone firm. Eli's face turned red with anger as he tried to regain control of the call. But it was too late. The venture capitalists started whispering among themselves, and the seeds of doubt about Eli's leadership were firmly planted. Not long after the pitch meeting, Talia found herself face-to-face with Eli in their office. He cornered her, frustration and anger in his eyes. "What the heck are you doing?" he demanded. Talia met his glare without flinching. "I'm taking back what's mine," she replied softly but with undeniable strength. Their conversation grew heated, full of short, snappy remarks. "I did everything for you, and you repay me like this?" Eli shouted, his voice echoing in the room. Talia simply stood her ground, knowing that every word she spoke was a step toward reclaiming her power. Their conflict was no longer personal, it was about justice. The day of the big board meeting finally arrived. Talia walked into the room with a calm smile, though her heart pounded with determination. The board members looked at her with curiosity as she began speaking. "We need a change in leadership," she said simply, looking around the room. The tension was thick as everyone realized that this meeting was not about routine business. Eli entered the room with a confident air, unaware of the storm that awaited him. Talia continued, "Let's discuss new leadership and a fresh start." Her words were clear and direct, and the mood in the room shifted instantly. Talia then reached into her bag and pulled out a thick file filled with documents. Each page detailed evidence of financial missteps, misconduct, and unethical decisions made by Eli. The room fell silent as she laid out the receipts. "These are not just numbers," she said. "They show a pattern of abuse and manipulation." The board members leaned in, reading the proofs that Talia had collected over years. Each piece of evidence painted a clear picture of how Eli had misused his power. It was a moment of reckoning, and every member in the room knew that change was not just necessary, it was inevitable. As Talia continued, Rachel, her lawyer friend, stepped forward to back up the claims. "Legally speaking, Talia owns a major part of this company," Rachel said in a calm tone. The board listened in shock as she recited the facts, the original contracts, the NDA, and the company records that proved Talia's rightful control. Eli's confident smile began to crumble as he realized the truth could no longer be hidden. The board members exchanged looks of disbelief. It was clear now that Talia was not the silent partner everyone had assumed her to be. Her quiet power was real, and it was time for Eli to face the music. With the evidence laid out, Talia spoke in a steady, firm voice. Effective immediately, Eli is removed from his role as CEO, she declared. The room was still for a long moment, and then murmurs began to ripple through the board. Eli tried to protest, but his words faltered under the weight of undeniable proof. "I can't do this," he muttered, but there was no room for negotiation. Talia's calm determination had swayed everyone. The board unanimously agreed, and with that, Eli's reign came to a sudden and humiliating end. Talia had finally taken back control. News of the board meeting spread like wildfire. Someone leaked a short video clip online showing Talia calmly presenting the evidence. The caption read, "She owns it." Literally. The clip quickly went viral, and within hours, it was trending on social media. Comments flooded in from former employees, investors, and even people who had only heard bits of the story. Everyone was talking about how a quiet, hardworking woman had finally stood up to abuse of power. The world began to see the real Talia Monroe, a woman who had been pushed down for too long, now rising to reclaim her life and her work. In the days that followed, Talia's inbox was flooded with emails. Former employees reached out to thank her for finally exposing the truth. Investors expressed their support, and media outlets requested interviews to learn more about her inspiring journey. "I never thought things could change so fast," one employee commented in an email. Talia read every message, feeling both overwhelmed and validated. It wasn't just about the money or the business. It was about fairness, respect, and a long overdue reckoning. Every email and every kind word gave her strength as she prepared for the next chapter of her life. With Eli out of the picture, Talia stepped into her new role as CEO with a sense of calm authority. She made her first major move by promoting a dedicated senior engineer, a single mom whom Eli had almost fired for taking time off. In a brief meeting, Talia said, "Everyone deserves a fair shot at success." The team nodded, feeling the shift in the company's atmosphere. It was now a place where hard work and honesty mattered more than charm and empty promises. Talia's leadership brought fresh energy and a new direction. The company began to transform, one careful decision at a time. Not long after, Eli tried to stage a comeback with his own tell-all podcast. He called it a chance to set the record straight. But the public was no longer interested in his version of events. When he began speaking, his words fell flat and the audience quickly lost interest. "You're just bitter now," one listener tweeted. Talia heard about the podcast but chose not to respond. Instead, she focused on running the company and making sure that everyone's voice was heard. Eli's comeback attempt ended in silence, proving that the truth could not be overshadowed by empty words. In an interview with a well-known reporter, someone asked Talia about the comment, "Lucky to have a job." With a gentle smile, she replied, "I gave him that job, and he was lucky I kept him for as long as I did." Her words were simple yet full of meaning. It was a moment of triumph that captured the hearts of many who had felt overlooked or disrespected. Her calm and honest reply resonated deeply with the public. The interview quickly became a hit on social media, and Talia's story was shared across all platforms. Her voice had finally been heard loud and clear. Soon after, Talia finalized her divorce from Eli. It wasn't just a breakup of a marriage. It was the end of a long era of being overlooked and undervalued. The headlines read, "No longer his wife, still the boss." In her new corner office, Talia proudly hung a plaque that read, "Never underestimate the silent partner." Every detail of her journey, from the painful moments of humiliation to the sweet taste of revenge, had led her to this point. She had rebuilt her life and her business on her own terms, showing that true power comes from within. As Talia sat in her new office, looking out at the bustling city below, she couldn't help but feel a deep sense of satisfaction. Her story had become a beacon of hope for many who felt stuck or silenced. Now, she urged everyone to share their own lessons learned. Tell us your thoughts in the comments, share your perspective, and let's keep this conversation going. she said. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Talia's journey was over, but her legacy of strength, truth, and resilience was just beginning to inspire others around the world.